You know that feeling when you finally hit publish on a blog post and think, okay, people come find it, and then crickets? Yeah, me too. Because back when I had my first business, still under the same name, P&W Designs, a planner shop, I was blogging my heart out, and I truly believed that if I showed up consistently and wrote helpful content, that people would just magically come find it. But here's the truth, they didn't. And not because my content was bad, but because I had no idea how SEO worked. In today's episode, I'm sharing the 5 biggest mistakes I made blogging without SEO and what I would do differently now. I am on a journey to get better in all areas of my life, and I want to do it with you. Welcome to the Being Better Everyday podcast, where we dig deep into all the things a millennial mom needs to know. From how to juggle your passions with your full-time job, to asking the hard questions about hormones and health, and learning from one another along the way. I am Julie Wenslick, and as a mom, business owner, and corporate girly, sometimes life can feel like a lot. So join me in the journey of being better every day, where we create habits and routines that support your life, create calm in the chaos, and put the you back in your everyday. Grab those headphones, put on your shoes, and join me on a walk while we get started with today's episode. These lessons cost me visibility, time, and money, and I don't want that for you. So if you've been putting effort into blogging but wondering why your traffic feels stuck, keep listening. I started blogging right away, kind of with my business. I knew I wanted my podcast to also have a place on my website. I knew kind of enough of the basics that I knew that having a blog attached to your podcast, that's what everyone else was doing, and that there must be a reason behind it. I had no formal training in SEO. I had no formal training in blogging. And I started writing blogs from the heart. I started creating content, and including my podcast, just with things that were important to me. And I thought that good content would be enough. I didn't have a plan, didn't have keywords that I was targeting, and I did watch and monitor my web traffic and organically. So there's a difference, I guess. Later in the quarter, I will be going through a little bit more about how to check this for yourself. But there's a difference between traffic to your website from a direct perspective and social perspective to organic. Direct is going to be, I sent you a link, you had the link, you didn't search for it, right? You put it in directly and found my website. So you would go to, at the time it was pwplanners.com. Now it's by PW Designs. Obviously, I'm sharing it on social media and you're clicking on it and reading my blog. Organic is going to be somebody is searching for a word that gets you to my website. And on my prior website, I think the max organic traffic that I ever had was 3 in any given month. And now, not that it's like a huge feat, but I'm certainly getting 20 people a month organically. I just thought at the time, back when I was running PW Designs for planners, that showing up consistently was the whole game. I didn't know that you had to have more strategy around it. I didn't know that words matter when it comes to people being able to find you. The foremost expert on SEO, right? I've done courses, I'm doing continuing ed. I consume a ton of content around SEO at this point, but I think listening, getting into it today, having these key tips will certainly make a difference in writing your content. You can certainly still write from your heart, but there should be some strategy around it. So, mistake number 1 is no keyword strategy. And I think this is something you're going to get sick of hearing me talk about, but it is so important. You might be choosing your topics based on what you want to write, but not what your audience is searching for. Or put a different way, your audience still may be searching for what you're writing about, but you're not using the right words to get you there. So, for example, I wrote a blog on time management. Okay. This blog was posted in September of 2023 and it said time management, how to organize your week and plan your schedule using time blocking. And in theory, right, that is an amazing topic. People want to talk about time blocking. They want to talk about time management. I'm still using those concepts. Like I'm planning on time blocking today and getting my stuff out there or planning for the week. But time blocking is something that's probably extremely competitive. I pulled up Ubersuggest while I'm talking here and I'm writing in time blocking. And time blocking has a keyword search volume of 8,100 and a difficulty of 74, which basically means there's no way in HE double hockey sticks, that I am going to rank for that keyword. And that is the difference, right? Like the number one blog on time blocking is from Asana, and then it's Clockify, BetterUp, Monday.com, right? These massive websites. So even though I'm writing about something that somebody might be searching for, I'm not going to show up organically because it's way too competitive. Not that this is like applicable to me, but a keyword that comes up on Uber Suggest that is a possibility is why time management is important for students, right? Or why time management is important at work. Now, obviously, that one is something I could have wrote about. So it's shifting the, instead of just time blocking as the keyword, my header should have been why time management is important at work or in business or in whatever, like, or goal setting, some sort of additional context that will allow me to rank for that particular keyword and get a little bit more traffic. So hopefully that example helps, but you can certainly write for what you want to write about, but you have to integrate in long tail keywords that allow you to rank. Now, when I'm writing the content, like I outline my Q3 content of what I want to talk about, what I felt like was important to me, what I'm geeking out about. But what I do is I will integrate in long tail keyword research to make sure that what I want to talk about also will get results. So I can write from the heart, but also get results. And that is going to be a huge difference too with search the way that it's transforming now. It's not just about like, you shouldn't be dehumanizing your content. And that is something that is going to be more and more important with AI because if it's a generalized answer, AI overviews are going to win and you're not going to get a click through. You need to be humanizing your content and giving your opinion and giving something that's unique, or you're going to get nowhere. So, tools that I use to do this, Answer the Public. I have a lifetime membership to Answer the Public. I have a lifetime membership to Uber Suggest. I do not have SEMrush because it is hella expensive and not something I'm prioritizing right now. As I increase my SEO prices, probably into 2026, I will be probably getting SEMrush. Baby steps in the business. And I'm certainly using AI. Now, I use AI for ideas. Do not, and I repeat, do not use AI to actually do the keyword research because most of the keywords they suggest from a metrics perspective are crap. So I would check out episode 49 for more information on how to actually do the keyword research. I'm not going to go into that today, but certainly there was a series on SEO and blogging and keywords and kind of my process. So check out those episodes. Mistake number two is going to be along the similar track, and that is having cutesy headlines with no context. Titles like Morning Magic or Behind the Scenes, they sound fun, but no one's actually Googling that. I can tell you how many times I've used headlines that sounded great but had no searchable words in it. Another example is last year I took a technology break over the 4th of July, 2024, and wrote a blog post and did a podcast episode about it. And the keyword that I used was digital detox. And again, I didn't know it was a keyword at the time, but that keyword has a difficulty level of 74. Again, way too high. And it would have been impossible for me to rank for, whereas social media break is still really hard, but a better difficulty level at 50. Ideally, you want under 30. So again, like I probably still need to pivot that content more. That blog isn't even live. It gives me an example of how like a small tweak can make a big difference in searchability and organic growth. And you cannot afford to not have the proper keywords in your H1 title if you want organic traffic. And again, 96% of websites do not get organic traffic. So I am trying to help you find more people and grow your business. But you got to make sure that you're writing not just from the heart, but for strategy. So you need to think of headlines as things that people would actually search and then verify with research that not only will they search for it, but it's rankable. I think oftentimes we start with like the short-tailed keywords like morning routine or working mom, but those keywords are going to be so difficult that if you're not a website that is already getting massive traffic, it's not going to work. So, an example would be morning magic could be morning routine for working moms. It's a long tail keyword. It's rankable, has search traffic, and is not competitive. You start with your idea, right? Working moms, morning routine, plug it into Uber Suggest, and look at for difficulty less than 30 with a volume ideally over 100. And that will be your H1 header that you can integrate in, or your keyword into your H1 header that you can integrate in. For those of you who have been an SEO client of mine over the last year, you already get 10 to 20 blog H1 headers as an example for you to write on. So if you have done my SEO audit and optimization, I'm giving you the answers. And if you're like, girl, I still don't have time, I get that. Where my blog service will come in eventually when it gets on my website, and if not, damn me for now, is I will take blogs to 90%. I will do the keyword research. I will write the blog for you using AI in your brand voice. And then your responsibility to review the blog, put in your unique spin to it, and post it. So I can get you to 90% so that you're only spending maybe a half an hour posting a blog instead of a couple of hours. And that will take a lot of the mental burden off of it because you know that the things are already researched. You need to be blogging. It is not dead with SEO or with AI. Will become more and more important for quality content. Think of it as additional words that Google will see your website for, period. That's why it's important because you only have 4, 5, 6 core web pages, maybe a little bit more. Those web pages, yes, will have some keyword ranking for it, but they're not going to continue to grow your authority if you do not continuously update your website and give it additional content. Let's talk about your website. I know you have one, which is great, and you may even have great offers, but do you know if you're actually getting found by Google? Well, that's where my free SEO best practices checklist comes in. After you've set up your monitoring tools, now it's time to make sure that you're optimizing each of your pages with this free one-page checklist that tells you everything you need to know from what should be on your homepage to how to write headers to what you should be thinking about when you write your blogs. So go to buypwdesigns.com/marketing-resources to find the SEO best practices checklist or get a direct link down in the show notes below. It's totally free and insanely helpful, so go get it now. Mistake number 3 is no linking strategy. Every blog post should not be a silo. It should not be the standalone page that nothing else links to, or vice versa, right? You're not linking to other internal pages. You're not linking to other relevant blogs. You're not linking to a freebie that's relevant or a pop-up that has a freebie that's relevant or, connecting people to additional content on your website. If you have a blog post that is siloed and not linked anywhere else, you've missed a chance to guide people to more helpful content or your offers and keeping them on your website. It helps people actually connect to your content. It shows Google that your content is valuable as well. If you are connecting it all like a spider web, you should be linking with purpose. Related blogs, service pages, a freebie. Have something that somebody can continue the relationship with you within your internal linking on your blog. I have it as a part of my checklist because candidly, I will forget to do that sometimes. So I have a blog checklist that I use in order to remember those things. And the other important thing that is often overlooked is external linking. Now, external linking, again, you can ask ChatGPT for examples and say, hey, don't pull from other content creators that are similar to me, pull from authorities like, I don't know, not Wikipedia, that's a bad example, but like, university research or definitions of external links should be something that you use to, again, tie the web together. Tell Google that, hey, I'm doing my research. I'm pulling a quote from like XYZ, or I'm defining something using some other website. What I do is I will ask ChatGPT, hey, here's my blog copy. Give me 10 external linking ideas based on my content. And then I'll pick like 2 or 3 from there. But internal and external linking is super important and it helps better your SEO and it gets you a better user experience and ultimately will help you grow your organic traffic. Mistake number 4 is something that is maybe intuitive, but depending on the blog platform you're on, depending on the web platform you're on, this is something that may get overlooked, and that is ignoring headers and your actual structure. So I've said this a million times, but one H1 header, okay? Your core H1 header is your title of your blog. After that, it's important to use H2 or H3 headers. In Squarespace, it is a design element. So you might be like, I don't want my headers to be that large if that's the H2. Well, then you need to change your design settings because you need to be using H2. If it's show it, you're going to be using backend WordPress and you're just tagging things. Now, it is also a design element on show it in the sense that your blog template, like on the show it side of things, dictates how your H2 and H3 show up. But again, you need to be using your H2s. H3s are going to be like your bulleted, bolded paragraphs, but you should have long tail related keywords within your headers, right? It shouldn't just be, oh, I have one keyword in my H1 and I can move on. Related long tail keywords or repeating your H1 keyword. Don't stuff it. There's a balance, but again, you need to be kind of telling Google that you're authoritative on this topic and that whatever you're using as your long tail keyword within the H1 is a relevant blog, and you're not just like putting it there to put it there. It helps Google figure out what your content is about. It helps be skimmable. It helps, again, rank for additional keywords. I have a blog I was looking at for a client that, or even so I have a blog on is Squarespace good for SEO? That single blog has 30 keywords on Google that it's showing up for. Now, am I on first page for all of them? Heck no. I'm on first page for a couple. But the point is like having keywords right in my headers are allowing me to show up for additional words on Google and giving me an additional chance of being found. That's what's important. And that wasn't there when I started blogging. Now, mistake number 5 is a little bit subjective, but it is no content plan. And you're just chasing ideas. You blog about whatever feels relevant week to week. You have no strategy, no goals, no seasonal planning. And I think the reason that can be a mistake is, again, going back to what does your audience want to hear about? And also, maybe what are you passionate about? For me, it's going to be a little bit of both. I hyperfixate on things and geek out about things. And for me, that's going to be the web design SEO side of things more than like Pinterest, right? I know a lot about Pinterest. I know how to manage it. I've taken courses. You know, I've pinned for 4 or 5 years now at this point. I just don't have any passion around it. I know how to grow. I know how to get results. I just don't care. I will eventually, like, I'm still doing it for clients. I have a great system. I have a VA that helps. It's not like I'm not passionate about it where I am with web design and SEO and making things pretty and functional. And so when I look at mapping out my content, I'm asking ChatGPT, where are my gaps in content? Where are my client questions coming from? Where are my questions I'm getting on Instagram coming from? Where is my gaps in SEO that I can continue to reinforce what I'm talking about on my website? For example, I was giving an example to a client last week of I'm going to use my Squarespace for SEO blog, right? There are keywords that I'm starting to rank for on that blog. If I reinforce that content with additional blogs related to it that will show Google, like, hey, I am an authority on this topic, that will then help me rank better. So when I'm giving clients blog ideas, they're all interrelated and they're all keywords that kind of, you know, relate to their topic, whether it's subconscious reprogramming or balayage for hair or seasonal colors, like their blogs, the content that I'm telling them to create is related to their core services and their core business. It's not necessarily like, for example, my last podcast episode on life updates. I will put my show notes on there, but I have zero expectation that that blog will get organic traffic, and that's okay with me. I know that that is not SEO optimized, and that's fine. That wasn't the point of that piece of content. But you can't have every single piece of content like that. You need to have a strategy around some of your other content. Hence why I'm talking about SEO and blogging and branding. Every other episode on my podcast is going to be a single episode that has a marketing tilt to it, an organic search, because that is what is important to me right now and has SEO backed keyword research with it. My interview podcasts, yes, they're going to be amazing, They're going to be a little less strong on the SEO side of things because I just want to talk and get to know them. And it's not just about the keywords, if that makes sense. I'm going to have her on the podcast later. I think mid-August is when the episode will air. But I'm super excited for you to hear from Stephanie from How To Mom. We are what I feel like just dipping our toes into the water on her website. Although I've been working with her for over a year, we've just had a lot of priorities, which we will get into. But she blogged for 9 years and did not have training on marketing, SEO, keyword structure, optimizing the blogs, all the things. And we have now or are starting to optimize her old blogs, and any new blogs are going to be optimized for SEO. And every single one of her new blogs is getting organic search. From going from maybe like less than 5 blogs getting organic search after 9 years of blogging, mind you, to every single new blog getting organic search traffic is such a huge difference. And we're able to show that with the people who are in her resource directory too, which is important. Google loves when you update old content too. So we are slowly, I mean, like really slowly, maybe like 1 blog a month. And if you think about the fact that she was weekly blogging for 9 years, you know how long that's going to take us. But we are going back and re-optimizing blogs and making sure that they have everything that it needs, from internal linking to external linking to the keywords to multiple keyword rich headers to having some sort of like next step for the consumer. All of those things are going to be a part of her, even like optimizing her old blogs, because we can then continue to grow traffic. We can continue to grow, hopefully, her courses over time and her agency from a doula, postpartum, all the things. So again, it makes a huge difference. We can see it in her traffic on all of her new blogs. I'll interview her. We can talk about it, and you will see that episode mid-August. So quick recap, 5 things to check off for your next blog post. Do you have a keyword in mind? Is the headline clear and searchable? Are you linking at least one post or one page internally and externally? Are your headers properly structured and keyword optimized? Are you writing with intention and not just winging it, or creating content that is not going to be searchable? If you want, more information on this, I have created a free SEO checklist that walks you through. I will link it in the show notes. And if you're blogging without a plan, you're not alone. I've been there doing all the right things, but getting zero traction. Blogging only works when people can find what you're writing. And SEO, it's not magic, it's strategy. Helping you get found on Google is what I do. If this episode feels like a wake-up call in the best way, screenshot it, share it with your stories, and tag me at julie.pwdesigns on Instagram. I would love to hear from you. You've got this. Your content deserves to be seen, and now you know how to make that happen. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Being Better Everyday podcast. Thank you for listening. I truly appreciate each listener. If you've enjoyed the conversation, I'd love if you would leave a rating and review or share it with your bestie to help me reach more women looking to ask the hard questions and live above that status quo. To see any visuals, head over to my YouTube channel. Links, socials, and resources mentioned can be found in today's show notes. If you're looking for more, you can find me on Instagram at julie.pwdesigns, sharing the behind the scenes of my everyday life as a millennial mom, corporate girly, and small business owner. Until next time, keep on taking one step at a time towards your version of being better every day.